This is another episode of Standup Comedy, your host and MC, celebrating 40-plus years on the fringe of show business. Stories, interviews, and comedy sets from the famous and not so famous. Here's your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. It's our special bonus show, and we have something kind of different for you. We have a interview coming up later on this year with one of the most known comedy club owners in Northern California, if not the nation. He ran and owned one of the biggest clubs in the San Francisco area called Cobb's Comedy Club, and started out so many famous comics. Well, he's here with us today to share his newest career. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Tom Sawyer.
Hey, how's it going?
Tom, I know that after several decades as a comedy club owner and booker, you've had so much success with Cobb's Comedy Club. You went into as kind of a next generation career, voice acting. I think I just heard a little bit of Robin Williams. Is that one of the things that got you going into voices, doing comics?
Yeah, doing celebrities when I was a kid. I've been doing like impersonations since I was in grade school. You know, doing Dot Adams from Get Smart and Ed Sullivan. Yeah, so I've always been doing, never stopped.
Well, that's great. And I know that you started your career as a stand-up comic doing impressions. Are there any comics that you enjoy doing? I heard Robin.
Well, I really enjoy doing Robin Williams. He's one of my favorite people ever. Good guy.
I love Robin, and
better.
That's a really good one. Have you done Robin on stage?
No, but he did Robin in front of Robin, and he didn't like it, and I will never do well, I don't have to worry about that. Very uncomfortable. Now we're all uncomfortable.
Well, I know from our conversation that you did a lot of work with several guys that were good at impressions, Dana Carvey and Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak, who stole one of my jokes, and because Kevin Pollak called my house one time, and I had impressions on my answering machine sometimes, and one was Christopher Walken. So people would call at the house, and the answering machine would come on, and I would be like, "Hi, you just reached the home of Tom Sawyer. He's not in right now, but you've also reached the business of Christopher Walken's House of Pantaloons, serving your pantaloon needs since 1967. So leave a message at the sound of your tone, and we'll get back to you." So,
and Kevin stole that?
Because Kevin basically took the whole House of Pantaloon thing from me, and it's actually in the documentary, The Comedy Club, where he talks about a joke that he took from me. And because we all have, as comedians and impressionists, we all have key words that help us get into a character. And pantaloon was my Christopher Walken word, because I say pantaloon, and immediately I'm doing Christopher Walken. It's crazy.
Well, this is a great way to introduce your movie. Everybody go to Freezy or Amazon. There's a few places you can find the documentary all about Tom Sawyer and his club, Cobb's Comedy Club. The name of the documentary is The Comedy Club. It's not really difficult, The Comedy Club, but it's a great movie, gives you some really nice insight into the comedy industry, and a lot of famous people appear in this movie. Congratulations on that. It just came out a few years ago. Now, the impressions that you do have led you into a new career as a voice actor. Do you do any impressions of actors?
I do lots of impressions. One of my favorites is Vincent Price, because he's so scary, even though he sounds like this. But every time he gets more angry, his voice goes higher. But of course, the young people out there don't even understand what Vincent Price is. But
well, you would
he's
think
a very scary fellow.
You would think from his work
with Boris Karloff.
Yeah, there you go.
Or Peter Lorre.
Well, Boris Karloff and Peter Lorre, you did really good on both of those. Those are actors.
Oldies but goodies. But it's more fun for me to create whole new guys, from scratch out of thin air. That's really a lot of fun.
So if you were doing, I think you said in our interview, you did some animation where you portrayed a general. Is that right?
Yeah, who was actually a lizard person.
A lizard person general. What would that sound like?
Well, that would sound like this, because he would have a very long tongue, and a very wide mouth, and of course, would have a much deeper voice than a regular person. Maybe a slight accent. Who knows?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. That was incredible. Wow, Tom Sawyer, you didn't sound at all like yourself, and I could actually envision that in some animation, a lizard general, and that's the perfect voice. It's interesting in voice acting. Do you create a voice and decide where it's going to be used, or are you given a character and you find their voice?
Well, sometimes I hear a voice on some TV thing, and then I see if I can do it, and then I record the guy's voice, and I figure out, well, let's put that aside, maybe use that for some other character. But a lot of times when you're doing auditions, they give you a drawing. If it's animation, they give you a drawing what the character looks like. So it's really fun giving that character a voice. They'll tell you what kind of person he is, what his characteristics are, and then you have a drawing of him. So if you see a guy that's stoic, you're going to talk like this. Hey, we're going to come to the rescue. Or if it's a little it's a little duck. It's maybe a little older. Maybe comes from the Bronx or something like that. So you do maybe a little dude, Joe Pesci or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. I can't think right now. So you create all these things based on what you see in front of you. Does this voice fit that character that's being drawn? So
wow, that is so fascinating, and what a great way to spend your time creating artistically the voices to go along with different characters. It's creative. I'm sure it's hard work, but you, Tom Sawyer, are doing a great job at it. Thank you so much for sharing some of your impressions with my audience today.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our bonus show for this week. Stay tuned this Sunday, another great show. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC. For information on the show, merchandise, and our sponsors, or to send comments to Scott, visit our website at www.standupyourhostandmc.com. Look for more episodes soon and enjoy the world of stand-up comedy. Visit a comedy showroom near you.